Hey everyone, Tom with On Campus College Planning. Haven't seen you for a while, glad to be back. Today I'm going to be talking about something extremely important, merit aid. And if you're at all concerned about the cost of college, I think you may want to pay attention to this. Merit aid are scholarships that students receive for two things: for their GPA and for their ACT or SAT score. But let me back up for just a second. The most important thing you need to know about merit aid is that it's not dependent upon your income. So when we think of financial aid, we all think, I'm going to hand over my taxes to colleges and then they're going to tell me how much I get, and we're a middle income family and we make too much and we'll never get any financial aid. And that's just not true. Merit aid has absolutely nothing to do with your financial situation, and it's becoming increasingly clear. People just don't know much about this. So we're trying to give you a little bit more information and get you started down this path. So again, merit aid, it's a scholarship and it's renewable. With good grades, it is renewable. It's the gift that keeps giving. Ho, 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 right? And you can continue this for 4 years. And what merit aid really does is it does a couple of things. Number one, it expands your ability to look outside your state at other public universities. All right. And I should say right away, not every colleges give merit aid, and you're going to need to do a little digging and check websites and call people and things like that. But there are more and more schools that are doing this. So it expands my options to go beyond the confines of my friendly state. And the second thing it does is it expands options out of state and in state with private colleges. We all know that private colleges are more expensive, and we all have kind of a general idea that, well, it's kind of like buying a used car. It's going to be this, but they're going to knock off this much, etc. Well, you need to know how much they're going to knock off, or if you should just knock off talking to them. And merit aid is a great way to figure that out. So we expand out-of-state options, we expand private options, and it's not dependent upon your income. That's good news. When we are talking with students or with families in the college search process about merit aid, number one, what we're not doing is just price shopping. We're not just like plugging in numbers and finding the cheapest colleges. We're using this to figure out, how can I expand the options in terms of the places that offer my major and are good fit for me socially, economically, etc. And we're helping families really open things up as opposed to having kind of a narrow focus on that. And most people are extremely surprised. I talked with someone today who was extremely surprised that there's this much merit aid out there, but you have to know where to look for it, and you have to know what I need to do. Generally, the higher my GPA is and the higher my ACT or SAT score is, the greater chance that I have for merit aid. We're going to include a link to a blog that we posted recently that talks about the merit aid payback for increasing your ACT scores. It is a payback, folks, right? And if you're like, well, the ACT, it doesn't matter, it doesn't measure my intelligence. Okay, we're not going to get into an argument about that right now. Most colleges want you to take the ACT or SAT. And if I as a parent, if I as a student know that a higher ACT score might significantly reduce my costs of college, I want to know that information, and then I want to make a determination of how much time and effort I want to spend and what resources I might devote towards that. So we'll put that link in there, and I would love to sit down with you and talk about merit aid and give you some great examples. I'm going to give you an example right now. Look up the University of Kansas. They call it KU, which is sort of wrong, but it's the University of Kansas. Go Jayhawks, right, in Lawrence, Kansas, and just Google this, University of Kansas out-of-state merit aid. And it'll take you to a page. I know exactly what it looks like, and it's going to show you 3 different levels, right? 3 levels of merit aid based on your GPA and ACT score. And I'm going to be a little bit off on this, and you can post the correct comments down below, or we'll put a link, but it's like a 3.25 cumulative. And 24 or 26 gets me started with about $11,000 a year. Thank you, KU. And then if I bump that up to a 3.5 and a 28, I get about $13,500 a year. Yeah, and out-of-state tuition there is about 30, so I definitely want to bring that down. And then at the highest level, I think it's their distinction scholarship, a 3.75 and a 30 ACT and a comparable SAT score gets me a little over 16,000, and it essentially creates reciprocity. Those of us in Wisconsin all know that we get to pay basically the same prices when we go over to Minnesota if we were living in Minnesota, and those guys the same thing here. And what Merit-Aid does is it creates reciprocity with other states. And so we're not just looking between Gophers and Badgers, Badgers and Gophers, oh my, we're looking at Jayhawks and all sorts of other things like that. That's what Merit-Aid is. Read the link, schedule a free consult. We would love to talk with you about this. And you know what? The best time to talk about this, not if you're a senior, the best time to talk about this is junior as you're prepping for the ACT, and freshman and sophomore. And for those go-getters, let's bring in some 8th graders and let's look at some money and some numbers, all right? Why not be open about this? Hope to see you soon. I'm Tom signing off. Take care. Go Merit-Aid.